trouble with a person and I'm about to get angry and to screw up that relationship, sometimes I've been able to bite my tongue and say, hey, stop. If this would be the last thing you did in your life, would you like to have a horrible fight with a person, to finish a friendship, a relationship, and then die? Because, you know, one normal day, after a normal activity, we're going to die. And this has happened to millions of human beings and animals and trees and plants and insects and microbes. After a normal thing in their life, one of these days they have to go. They're called back to mystery. So that very particular last event could be any. And one of the beauties of death is that we don't know when it's going to happen. Babies die, teenagers die, normal adults die, some people die very old, but eventually we will all die. So if we have this in mind, then it's possible to stop and say, okay, I have two chances. I make this wrong, or I try to make this right. To make it wrong is very easy. We just let ourselves go like always and happen whatever. And to try to do your best is a little bit more difficult, more challenging, but more beautiful. So instead of fighting, you could maybe say, you know, sorry, can I give you a hug, you know? Can I give you a kiss? And can we just talk about something else, you know? You want a sandwich? Let's go have a dance or drink. And then things change. And I believe this is magic, you know? And being in these searches, in this quest, we are all looking for these kind of things. We are interested in magic. And I believe magic is not a magic wand, but it's about actions. I have learned with indigenous people that if you really want to affect reality, you have to act. Things that you do have consequences. And the consequences can take different directions. And one of the amazing things of consequences is that you never know how far they are going to arrive. Some of the consequences we will carry till our last breath. And some last a few hours, a few minutes. So it's really, really important to be careful in the ways that we act. And again, I see it's important to love, because if we care for the interconnectedness, and just like life does, that cares especially for each particle, and not specially for any one of them, but all together, if we could somehow, I don't know, of course we all have this kind of illusion, of dream, of petition to the spirit, but if we could all find a way to behave like energy in nature, like animals, like trees, and instead of caring for my rent, my telephone bill, my credit card, my car, my. Imagine if instead of me fighting alone, competing against all of you that are my threaten, instead of that, if I could help you write this, help you carry your bags, help you paint your house, help you with a dog, and imagine if you could have all these people helping you, and if you could help all these people, I mean, this is paradise. It would be so incredibly easy to be extremely successful. We would all be on the top, just like nature does. I think we have an amazing, amazing teacher in nature. I sit hours just looking at the jungle, how everything is working for everyone, and the beauty in front of my eyes is amazing. And there is no garbage, and there is no noise, and there's no pollution. And everything is perfect. And it's there. And if you go take a snorkel and go to the reef, you're going to see the same thing. And in the forest, it's the same thing. And in the desert, it's the same thing. So I find it extremely important. I have no clue how could we have this on a mass scale on humankind. One of the things that worries me very much is that we are somehow insulated. And of course we have gatherings like this that is beautiful. I know we share the same heart and the same visions and the same quests. But once we are scattered on the mass, I know that all of you feel alone on the world, surrounded by all these huge thing that has a tremendous inertia. So about 2012, I'm not an expert on the subject, and I have been reading about it probably since a kid, and I see people really confused about this date because the average person on December of 2012 is really worried that at the same time that day we're going to have a flood, all the volcanoes are going to be erupting, but at the same time the magnetic poles are going to be shifting while the sea level is coming up, but there is also Nibiru, or this planet X, coming real close or probably crashing in the roof of our house, and at the same time probably a new vaccine is going to be forced on population and the concentration camps, but at the same time maybe an awakening could happen to humankind to avoid all these things that are already happening in a matter of hours, you know. And all this together, you know, this is about 2012, and people are very confused. Okay, but the thing is going to be destroyed, but maybe not, but maybe an awakeness of consciousness. What is going on, you know? So this is a really confusing moment that the media and the books and all the information that is running around is very contradictory. So many years ago already I decided, okay, I'm not going to think very much about that. Being also with indigenous people and living with death here as my friend, I had to like forget about the future. I really don't go very far away. I don't even know if I arrived tonight to these very comfortable beds in this hotel. I don't know if I'm going to be awake tomorrow. And so I stopped thinking about the future. But something that really, really worries me, and I guess many of you also have this kind of thoughts, I have noticed, I've been in several massive events of things like that happen. I was, for example, in the super huge earthquake in Mexico City when I lived there, when the city was devastated. And I have seen how when really, really heavy tragedies happen, humans are humans. And they become lovely, and they do help each other. When they have to like shut down the system and the TV and help the neighbor and look on the fallen rocks and roofs, and when they're hungry and they have one bread and they can split it in 2 or 4 or 8, it doesn't matter, let's have a bit of bread each one of us. I've seen this, and I was also here in Cancun when the super huge hurricane Gilberto came and devastated all our town, and I saw that again. And I was in Mexico in the Olympics, and I have seen people get united in party in amazing ways. Or in Mexico when the football games and the streets were full of fans just loving each other and partying and not caring for differences. And there were no robbers on the streets and these kind of things. So I was very amazed and curious how come when we put down certain walls of programming, we are one part, we are united. And we have always been united, except that we forget because of everyday life is so demanding. But we can make a very demanding everyday life that is about helping each other. And I just wonder, how could we make this possible? So the end of the world is something that I've been hearing since a boy, and the first time I heard about the end of the world is like, damn, this is going to happen, I got to be prepared, you know. And I began doing things for myself, and there was this date, it's already an old date, and I was ready for the date, and I said, okay, the thing is what I got to do, I got to die, you know, the end of the world, so I have to be ready for that. And I thought I was ready at the moment, and the day came, and I was like ready to die, you know, and no, I didn't die, and the date passed. Damn, but well, okay, it was good after all because I did all